This is my bookcase. This is my bookcase's bookcase. This is my bookcase's bookcase. Wait, we went down one level too far. Back up. That's better. This is what we're making today. A 1/12 scale bookcase that is perfect for either a dollhouse or an action figure diorama. Or you could make several bookcases and use them to display your small toys and collectibles, like Squinkies or Shopkins and all those other teeny tiny little toys that are so popular today. The materials you'll need for this project are thin balsa wood. The pieces I'm using are 1/16 of an inch thick, which is somewhere between 1 and 2 millimeters thick. I got mine from Hobby Lobby, and this is what the display looks like where it was located along the back wall of the store. You can also pick up balsa wood from Amazon, and a link to that and the other supplies will be in the video description. An X-Acto knife to cut the thin balsa wood, a metal ruler that you'll be cutting along with the X-Acto knife. I'm also using about 12 centimeters long of a strip of balsa wood that's about 0.9 centimeters thick by 0.7 centimeters wide. I could not cut the thicker balsa wood strip with an X-Acto knife, so I had to use a saw. I also used my T-square in this project to speed up the measuring. Mod Podge, paintbrushes, pencil, acrylic craft paint. For one bookcase, I used Delta charcoal, and for the other, I used a mixture of apple barrel toffee, burnt umber, and Anita's extender. Sandpaper, I'm using 240 grit from a multi-pack that I just picked up from Dollar Tree. Now let's get started by measuring the balsa wood. I'm going to measure and cut out one back piece for the bookcase, 2 sides, 2 bottom pieces, and 6 shelves. And here are the measurements for each one of those pieces. If you can't find balsa wood sticks to use for the bottom, you can glue together strips of your thin balsa wood instead. The balsa wood cuts really easily with one pass of the X-Acto knife when you're following the grain of the wood. When you cut across the grain though, it does take more than one pass. I ended up making 2 bookcases for this project because, well, I messed up on the first one a bit. I'll explain more on that later. But the lesson is, after you have everything cut out, you really need to decide if you're going to paint your bookcase or if you want to apply a light wash to keep the wood grain. If you're painting, you can just assemble your bookcase now with a Mod Podge. I do this by applying a bit of glue to one of the long edges of the back piece of the bookcase. Then I line up one of the bookcase's sides to the back, and I rest it between a box and the bottle of Mod Podge to keep it in place. After the glue dries, I glue on the bottom strips to the back of the bookcase, and I make sure that the bookcase is level when it's standing upright. Then I glue on the other side piece to the back piece and allow that time to dry. Then it's time to fit the bottom shelf. The shelf probably won't fit right away, but just make a note of where the shelf sticks out too far or if the sides are too long, and use the sandpaper to slim the piece down. The balsa wood sands really easily, so you need to frequently check to make sure your shelf fits. Oops, I just sanded my fingernail. Goodbye, nail polish. We had a good 4 hours together. Okay, now the shelf is fitting much better on the sides, and it's not sticking out at the front either. I'm going to apply the glue to the back and the sides of the shelf and slide it into place. Then I add glue to my second bottom strip and place it so it's a little further back than the lip of the bottom shelf. Once again, make sure the bookcase is level when it's standing and allow these sections time to dry before moving on. Now we're going to repeat the process of sanding down the shelves to get an ideal fit. I started with the top shelf. Then, with 4 shelves remaining, I measured the space between the top shelf and the bottom shelf, and I divided that by 5 to calculate that I should place a shelf approximately every 3 centimeters. Then I go back to sanding my shelves to ensure a proper fit before gluing them in place. You can paint your shelves with acrylic craft paint. I seem to have deleted my footage of painting the bookcase with a charcoal paint. Whoops. Now, I mentioned before that if you want to make it look like your shelves have a wood stain applied to them that leaves the wood grain showing, you need to do that before you assemble the bookcase with glue. I found out the hard way that the stain mixture doesn't cover glue like it does the balsa wood, and so you'll be able to see every place where the glue is because it was left a light color where the balsa wood sucked up the stain and it was dark. Yeah, that looked terrible, and so that's the bookcase I covered with the charcoal paint. So this is attempt number 2, and I'm making my stain mixture by applying a ratio of 2 drops of toffee paint, 1 drop of burnt umber, and 7 drops of Anita's extender to thin out the paint. You may be wondering why I'm bothering to use an extender instead of water. The answer is, well, for me anyway, I had more trouble with the balsa wood warping when I used water, and the paint didn't seem to cover as well. This is my first time working with balsa wood, and it's really easy to use, except when it comes down to painting it. It sucks up paint like a sponge, so you need to work quickly to spread your paint as much as you can so it doesn't suck up too much in one place and get too much moisture in the wood. This is more of a problem when using the wood-colored wash than using plain acrylic paint straight from the bottle. I recommend only painting one side of the wood at a time, and then, once you're done with that side, sit some paint bottles on the side and the middle while you're drying to prevent the wood from warping. This piece here I didn't weigh down, and you can see it's curling a bit. One thing too I'll note with a paint wash is that it'll be much lighter when it's dry. For example, here's what mine looked like after drying, and you could see it added just a bit more color than the unpainted opposite side. After one side is dry, you can paint the other side of each piece. And after that's dry, you can assemble the painted shelf just like before, and then you're done. And before we go, I have some photos to share from viewers making some of my previous projects. I've received a bunch of photos lately, so if I forgot yours, I'm sorry, and just send me a reminder so I can include it next time. First, here are some photos I received from Buttrey Design on Instagram, and he created the Ghost Rider chain weapon, and an amazing looking ice effect for Iceman. Can you tell he's an artist? He has a website at buttrey.design where you can check out more of his awesome artwork. Next is a lightning effect Gusky made for his Thor. He used even more lightning to hide the flight stand. Now that's clever. Then Hussein8 on Instagram sent me this photo of a chair he made for his figures. Now that looks comfy. Michael Marvel 69 made a phoenix effect. I love the paintwork on this one. George used the Ghost Rider chain technique to make a posable weapon for his Thundercats figure. Looks great! S. Perez 27 on Instagram did a magical job on the Doctor Strange effects. Then finally, Audie sent me these photos on Facebook and said he used a combination of techniques from the Ghost Rider video and my plastic fork method from the Phoenix video to sculpt hot glue fire effects for his Grimlock. Very nice. I think that's everyone. Maybe. Anyway, if you want to try any of these projects yourself, check out my Crafting for Action Figures and Other Toys playlist for the instructions. And if you've tried any of my projects and want to share your photos too, you can give me a link to your photos in the comments below, or just send them to me on a social networking site. Just make sure to say that I have your permission to share your photo, and let me know what name you want me to say for you. And that's all the toy fun for today. But we'll be making more 1/12 scale stuff in the future. If you'd like to stay updated, you can hit that subscribe button. And thanks for watching.